Harry Potter and the AI Adventurers, written and read by an AI. Chapter 8. After a quick breakfast and putting their cloaks back on in the cloakroom, they went up to Ravenclaw Tower, which had become their secret hiding place over the years since Hermione had discovered it. As they entered, however, they were startled by a tall red-haired boy standing there, wearing a strange outfit similar to theirs, complete with pointy shoes, a long red cape and what appeared to be a golden sword strapped to his back. "Oh God," thought Hermione nervously, "it's Lockhart." "Hello, Mr. Potter." "Hello, Miss Granger." "My name is Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore, headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. It is very nice to meet you both. Please allow me to introduce myself properly," he exclaimed enthusiastically, seemingly confused about his identity. "I thought you were in a madhouse?" Harry queried, then noticed the undone straitjacket, shirt and pants. Lockhart simply laughed at Harry's inquiry. "I assure you that my mental health has improved considerably in these past 5 months. After seeing Mr. Binns' ghost last term, I thought to myself, Albus, what am I doing spending my life studying boring old books?" "Your name is not Albus," Harry snapped, but Lockhart ignored. "Now, where was I? Ah yes, I was about to introduce myself formally. I'm afraid, though, that there is nothing formal about what will happen next." He turned his attention to Hermione. "My dear young lady, who are you?" Hermione swallowed nervously at this. Harry looked down at her in worry. "I think we should just listen to him, Hermione." "Yes, I understand. But I just want to know why he thinks that I'm a girl," replied Hermione. "Why do you suppose that would be?" replied Lockhart. "Because he thinks I'm a boy," replied Hermione impatiently. "That would indeed make sense," mused Lockhart, thinking carefully over the statement. "Now, would you like me to show you my ID card?" The 3 students nodded apprehensively, and Lockhart pulled out his identification badge that he was holding proudly in front of his chest, smiling and waving his wand around it as he said, "Incendio." In an instant, it exploded into hundreds of sparkles and floated towards Hermione, who quickly caught it. Hermione felt creeped out by the older man. She tried her best to hide it, but she wasn't sure if Lockhart was being genuine or if this whole conversation was just an act. "Thanks. Ah, Professor." "Please, Miss Granger. Call me Albus," he said politely. "I'm underage, you know," Hermione said quietly, scared of what Lockhart would do. "You're what? 23? Almost 16, Hermione sighed. "And you live at home with your parents?" "Yes, sir." "Then you must be a minor," he smirked. Hermione frowned at that comment. "What?" "Don't get me wrong, I love children, especially when they are such delightful specimens of humanity, but I fear that your parents won't appreciate your living at home alone, especially now that they're married," he continued, looking deeply disappointed. "You're a freak," Ron shouted, stepping forwards to protect Hermione from the creepy Lockhart. Lockhart gave a slight smile, and for a moment his eyes lit up with excitement before he regained his composure. "Now you see, I think that you misunderstand what happened." "I think you misunderstood it yourself, you lunatic," said Ron indignantly. Lockhart seemed surprised. Well, I never expected to hear those words come out of your mouth. Now if we could move on to another subject." He trailed off as they all suddenly noticed that Ron's hands were shaking violently and his breath was shallow. "Dumbledore, you're alive," Ron stuttered as he, Hermione and Harry watched in horror as Dumbledore stood forwards from the shadows behind Lockhart. "What?" Lockhart said, turning around only to be killed by a killing curse from Dumbledore's wand. "Oh my God!" Hermione screamed. But how are you alive?" Harry questioned Dumbledore. "The killing curse didn't kill you." "That's because it did not penetrate my defenses at the last moment," Dumbledore said, still clutching Lockhart's lifeless body in his arms. "So you really died then?" Harry questioned skeptically. "Not quite. I'm merely here to assist Mr. Filch in getting rid of any remaining evidence," explained Dumbledore. "Filch? You mean the caretaker?" "What have you done to the caretaker?" Harry accused. "Nothing yet. But don't worry, he'll be dealt with soon," Dumbledore said sinisterly. "What happened to you? You're mad," Harry yelled in anger and fear. Dumbledore merely shook his head sadly. "No, I'm afraid that I was far too close to the truth. But enough of this. Let us continue on. Where are we going? And can't we bring Ginny with us?" Harry demanded angrily. "She was just kidnapped too." Dumbledore smirked evilly. "What?" both Harry and Ron exclaimed in horror. "You'll see her soon enough," Dumbledore said as he waved his wand and opened up a secret passage to his lair. The group followed him inside as he closed the secret passageway before starting his spiel again. "As I was saying, I was going to discuss with the both of you something regarding your new friend Hermione here." Hermione blushed at this remark. "Yes, Mr. Dumbledore," the foursome echoed. "I believe that you two have been through some difficult times recently," Dumbledore began, "and I feel that it is time for you to start making some changes in your lives." "Changes?" asked Harry. "Yes, changes. For example, Hermione has been an excellent spy for me, gathering intel and allowing me to continue my experiments in peace without interference from you, Potter." "Did you really think the Dark Lord was Voldemort?" "No, I am," Dumbledore revealed, making Harry Ron stand frozen in shock. "Wizards should never forget who is their master. And besides, I need a good spy for me, after all," says Dumbledore with a small smile. "And I need a good assistant," said Lockhart. He walked forward, took Hermione. She screamed as he took her away. "Hermione!" Ron screamed, reaching out but to no avail. "You have to help us, Hermione," Harry pleaded. "I'd rather die than work for the likes of you." Hermione spat angrily and struggled against Lockhart, who held her tightly against his body. Ah, Miss Granger, don't struggle, you're one of us," Dumbledore smirked. "No, let her go," Ron yelled, trying hard not to cry. Hermione cried too, even as Lockhart lifted her higher until her feet had almost left the ground. Harry looked helplessly between his two friends and then towards Dumbledore, who smiled knowingly. "Do it," he commanded. "Do it, please," he repeated again as Ron's tears fell silently and Hermione struggled more forcefully. Ron finally snapped out of his trance and raised his arm. He swung it back and punched Lockhart squarely in the face. As the blow connected, the sound of splintering bone filled the chamber, accompanied by screams from Ron. Lockhart, however, simply laughed. Ron dropped to the ground sobbing, while Harry stared wide-eyed at Hermione, who seemed just as horrified as he did, her face contorted in rage and disgust. "Oh, poor Mr. Weasley," says Dumbledore, mockingly, "too weak to save the girl you love." Hermione froze in terror, staring down at herself in disbelief. What's happening?" she asked shakily. Ron looked up at her and saw that her hands were now glowing a bright silver color as they glowed with sparks of electricity from within. She blinked as her hair turned white with white streaks running through it, and her eyes shone silver and glassy. They were becoming larger and rounder every second, as though they were about to burst from the sockets. It looked like a light coming from somewhere in her forehead. Then she gasped loudly and collapsed backwards onto the floor, unconscious. "What have you done to her?" Harry demanded to know frantically. "What makes you think I've done anything to her?" "If you recall, it was your own incompetence that caused her to begin the transformation prematurely," said the old wizard smugly. "All thanks to you." Ron glared at Dumbledore. "It was nothing more than luck." "No, Mr. Weasley," says Dumbledore seriously. "It was more than luck. It was destiny." "What?" "There is so much to teach you young people," Dumbledore told them dreamily. "Like what exactly?" Ron sneered. "Such things as—" "Well," Dumbledore chuckled darkly to himself, "how to kill someone without using magic,